It took 2 hours for the transports to reach the Marquis.
From Luxembourg to Ram.
This small camp held all that remained of the Marquis.
Okay then.
We wondered if it would be enough to carry out the final assault on the Paris Tower. Plans were drawn up quickly. Cartwright would lead a frontal assault on the Paris defenses and the Chimera Tower. While we had hoped that destroying the tower would have the same
Similar
effect
to
we had
World
seen
War
in
II, it
London,
comes down
the
to an
Marquis
assault
had a
on
backup plan as
France.
Remember, the Marquis are planning entirely on that serum that Dr. Bouchard prepared, and you know, Grayson helped to finish.
I'll give it this. Given the fact...
The idea is that it will cripple the entire supply line of the Chimera and eventually will make them stop using the bodies to make new Chimera. However, if you forgot, Grayson had a minimal set of reservations when he found, you know, Reine Bouchard, you know, being experimented by her father.
But one person moving alone could pass through unnoticed by Chimera forces.
Oh. And I wonder who that one person
Reine and
is.
Grayson argued over who should go. Because of her experience and knowledge of how to deploy the serum, Bouchard was chosen. But Grayson would not listen to reason.
You can't let her go.
The decision's been made, James. You have to let it drop.
She's infected.
What are you talking about? Let go of me.
Let go of her, Private, or I will take your head off.
I saw her father drawing her blood in Luxembourg. Reine is the breakthrough. Tell them, Reine.
Let go. Grayson, stop it.
Tell him.
Yeah.
Take him to the brig. Lock him up. Get off me.
So you got out of a brig just to go back into one.
Tell them, Reine.
Oh well.
Can't let her go. It's true, I'm telling you. She'll kill us all.
Well, fuck, she's infected.
But wait, hold on.
And now things are about to get weird.
Eh? What are you doing here?
I had to see you, James.
It's funny, you know. The rats here in France are bigger than those in London.
I don't blame you for being angry. I am leaving for Paris soon.
I'd wave goodbye if I could reach those bars.
You will be free by then. I will tell the guards before I go.
After it's too late to stop you.
James, I'm sorry.
Wait, they are not about to hook up now! Oh.
You're infected, Reine. Just like my brother was. You know what I have to do.
Are you going to kill me, James? Do it.
Do it, you immortal.
Why did you come here?
I don't...
Oh, okay.
I can't do it.
I can say.
Oh boy, here we
What?
go.
What?
Wait, what?
Wait, what? No.
I didn't come to talk.
I can see that.
Why?
And we cut to black.
And Grayson
Yeah.
and Grayson agreed with that? Wait, what happened?
We don't know. That's the thing. We don't know. We cut to another scene in which Grayson gets freed by Cartwright. So we don't know if he actually, you know, banged with Reine or not.
You're going to have to hurry, mate.
I mean, I'm assuming so. Otherwise, what would even be the point of that?
We think he followed
So
But that will make no. Well, again, that will mention this during the gameplay.
You'll need this,
The serum.
in case you don't find her.
So, I guess to her words, she did admit that she was infected by the time it was too late to stop her.
Of Paris, he could see that Cartwright's assault on the Chimera Tower had begun. The clock was now ticking. Grayson would have to reach the Chrysalis lair and deliver the serum while the Chimera defense forces were being diverted. Though he'd had an hour's head start, Grayson caught up with Mallory at the entrance to the Catacombs alone. Tracking Bouchard and Colonel Mallory had been as easy as following their boot prints in the snow. The important question was, would Grayson remember to question Colonel Mallory before he killed him?
That is a good question.
And finally, after being talked so much, we get to see the Cloven in person, but more onto this particular level. Go on, Dibs.
6th of September 1951. The Chimera are moving in and battling Cloven for these catacombs. So much for this being the easy route into Paris, Reine can no longer be trusted. So I'll infect the carriers if I can reach the Crystalis lair before Cartwright enters this diversionary assault. I don't know how or when Reine became infected. Maybe I didn't rescue her soon enough in Bonn, or maybe her father injected her with his serum. Either way, I should have killed her last night when I still had the chance. Instead, I bogged her senseless for some reason.
Yeah. Like, I really don't
I think
get
that pretty much implies that, yes, they banged. Holy cow. But okay.
More in a second.
Right, the Cloven.
These guys like frogs better than roast beef, so keep quiet. Savvy? Don't be stupid.
Savvy?
They're
To be
good,
your
not
Captain
cannibals.
Jack
Tell me
Sparrow.
where Bouchard is, or you'll find out the hard way. Through here. I lost her. I swear on my life. Your life? I'll take you up on that.
Oh, fuck.
Go, doggies, go!
I'm sorry, am I supposed to take that seriously?
Well, okay.
The animation felt like very goofy.
You've never seen a movie like The Descent, have you?
No.
It's supposed to be a more resembling like a ghoul state. In fiction, they tend to move like that, including the speed up movement.
So I'm guessing...
Because,
So
again,
that's like a horror movie monster.
Kinda. I will explain more on the Cloven when it's time to talk about their proper lore, because I made a decision in how we'll actually showcase the intel of this game. So don't worry, you will get explanation. For the time being, in this first section, you have to repel the enemy, while Mallory has some interesting remark also about the enemies. Keep checking on the subs in the meantime. But yeah, about that cutscene, I don't even know where to start. Thanks, Mallory. But because it really just sticks out for the rest of the game, and including, you know, what happens from now on, because there literally was no reason. Sure, I could believe, honestly, that despite the little time that they spent, the situation and the tenseness of it may have, you know, potentially have Grayson and, Reine starting developing feelings for each other. That my suspension of disbelief actually allows me to believe that. But them just banging like that after the scene in which Grayson, is completely suspicious about her being infected and everything, literally makes no sense. It's like, what? Grayson has a brain fart and deciding to bonk her despite knowing that she's infected? And like what? You're not fearing to catching a Chimera STD or something?
Not only that, can we talk about how stupid Reine was in that scene too? Like, girl, you have a plan, and you know Grayson capped his own brother, so she was willing to risk him actually killing her, because look, if he could kill his brother, who he clearly loved, she didn't know if he was not going to kill her or not, unless she was really, really, really hinging her gambits on the fact that he would be distracted enough by her assets.
Alright, now you have to help Mallory lift up this gate and then move through.
I will go first. Nice try, Molly, but I'm going first.
Grayson, you are so predictable.
Fucking hell!
I forgot. Bouchard went this way. When you find the Cloven, tell them
Wow.
they will love you.
You know, I think Mallory may be more of a dick than Grayson even was at the start of the game.
Like I said, I still technically really like the plot of this game overall. But again, this game commits the one cardinal sin that I kept harping for both this franchise and Gears. Having a human enemy that, defies all logic, and decides to be an antagonist just to be a dick.
Okay. To Mallory's not-so-big credit, my guess is his logic is Reine's plan will still work, whatever that is, and, he just really doesn't care for Grayson. It's not like he's going out of his way to side with, the Chimera at the very least. Now, if he were siding with the Chimera against all of humanity, that would definitely be a legit problem. That said, I'm guessing that there were 2 vials of serum since
yes,
we
did manage to remember. Thanks to refining it, we managed to replicate it just for one. Reine has one, and Grayson has the other. Reine is basically going there. Grayson's fear is that her being infected will make her eventually turn and not succeed the mission, essentially making it fail. It's essentially concerned. Similar, there's a bit of a parallel to what Capelli goes through towards Hale in the second game. Again, purposefully done so. So that I don't have a problem with it.
I'm fine with your new friend. I will tell Reine. I love for you.
And again, they're trying to really play up, Mallory as this jerk. Again, it's the French jerk stereotype. Why? Because it kind of was a thing for World War II movies, and I get it, but this really doesn't feel the right situation to have that.
I mean, to me, he's just a jerk who happens to be French. I don't really consider it a French stereotype for him to be a jerk. I mean, let's be honest, Grayson ain't exactly been a piece of cake himself, so...
No.
But that being said,
again,
I feel like Mallory's meant to be like the dark reflection where, oh, he seems not as bad, but it turns out he can be just as much, if not worse, a dick than Grayson.
Anyway, again, after being talked about, I will elaborate more in the part dedicated to the extras like the intel, but in case you need a refresher, because they've been talked only about in sporadic dialogues and the intel of the first game, the Cloven were the first experiment that Dr. Malikov had back in Russia during the early stages of the invasion, a sort of a first prototype of the Sentinel program. And as you can see, it did not really end well. They're basically, ghoul-esque, creature that are a mixed stage, a missing link between humans and the mutated chimeras, and ideally, as far as the war intel, personnel knows, they seem to just coexist with the chimera, but, they don't cooperate with each other, They try to step away from each other, and that includes also humanity, but they normally do not cooperate. But again, it seems that things are changing on that front as well. They do not play a big factor into this game, but it's more of a... But of all the games, this is the one that reinforces more their role. In this case, this one teaches you, for example, the fact that some of these contacts can actually be passed through, like this one.
Stupid midget.
Thanks, we needed to hear that again.
Yeah, well, wow, what a witty response.
Yeah, that one is...
Bloody freak show.
Oh, and trust me, okay, not for Molly, but it kind of gets a bit worse.
Oh? What do we have here?
The Cloven are... Again, as also mentioned in the intel of the first game, the Cloven seem to retain a bit of humanity, and they act by collecting trinkets of remnants of the humanities and performing something like, say, rituals in order to keep their sanity, whatever remains of their sanity intact, to not mutate completely.
Apparently the main Chimera don't like that, since they're clearly trying to shoot it.
More like they just wanted to scatter away. Again, remember, the two species do not cooperate despite having similarities with them. You would think that since they are partially mutated, the Chimera would recognize them, but it's probably because they're not part of the hive mind. They are not recognized by their main forces.
So basically, Clovens are literally the in-between of a human and a Grim.
Basically, and as you can imagine from the equipment that they showcased, and also from what the intel of the first game is, they were test subjects, and because of Dr. Malikov, they were part of the Russian Imperial Army. They were just used as guinea pigs for that. Again, it's part of the lore and explains what happens, which I might as well also use this bit to mention briefly for fun, since this game doesn't explain on and the others do not. It's just something that's sporadically told in some intels, like, say, the ARG websites that I did mention, or maybe the intels of Resistance 2, which I did not cover because they were really big wall texts, but I can do mention. In case you need to want a bit of a flavor of what happened to the other countries, I'm currently still checking, so it's not a complete situation, but I can tell this. Africa was not invaded immediately for the very obvious reason that you think of. The climate was too warm for the Chimera for the time being. But as the invasion went by and the earth got a bit colder, thanks to the terraforming machines, they eventually managed to invade and conquer it in a bunch of, 1 or 2 years, basically. But as heard in Resistance 3, there are sects of resistances that managed to work it out, so there is that. My country, apparently, was one of the last ones of mainland Europe to fall before the Chimera moved out to the UK. Particularly noteworthy is the so-called Siege of Genoa, in which the Chimera ultimately transferred over whatever remained of the inland European forces, and apparently the Italian soldiers, rather than wanting to be converted, decided to commit suicide in mass. Yeah, not very pleasant. And unsurprisingly, unfortunately, Pedro, your country just mentioned that it's there. Nothing particularly remarkable happened.
Remember, Theo, that's our usual role in these situations. We're just the neutral party that just stays there, minding our own business, while you guys just tear each other off.
That's the thing. Even Spain technically did something a bit more. Portugal is just mentioned that it's just one of the nations that allied in order to take down the Chimera, but that's it. Nothing more.
No, that's right. No, well, I can tell you that whoever wrote this game, it's John Gavin, you said, right? I can tell that John Gavin at the very least knows his history, yes, because that's how my country usually deals with big wars. Both World War I and World War II.
Let me check exactly what the page says. Go on.
In both world wars, my country was a neutral party that basically kept itself as uninvolved as possible.
Yeah, I just mentioned here that the country joined the coalition that they had, the European Trade Organization, so-called ETO. But that's just it. It eventually was just transferred over by the Chimera. Mm-hmm. Anyway, for the time being, we're still stuck in the Catacombs. Let me check in the meantime something. There you go. Yeah, more intel again. I will mention that in the extras part.
Look at here's an example. Let's use me as an example too, right? I technically have a Twitter account, but I only use it to follow specific people that I want to follow specifically. But that's it. I only go to Twitter when I want to check what those specific, like Deji, for example, right?
Mallory, come in.
But I'll wait till this cuts.
Mallory. What the?
Whoop!
Man, this is just not your day, Grayson.
And that's our level end, by the way. We have to transition to the other.
Of rooms and chambers, he began to discover more and more evidence that while insane and incoherent, at least appearing so to us, the Cloven had a complex language and society. Grayson began to realize that the Cloven were in the Catacombs for a purpose closely related to Bouchard's mission to contaminate the Chimera's new conversion process.
Well, that's what moving on we'll find out.
Alright, next mission. Threads. Oh Christ, this isn't good. Tracking Bouchard and Mallory was slow going enough, but now I've fallen into a deeper, more dangerous section of the Catacombs. I only hope Reine's had trouble making it through here too. Not the bad sort, just enough to slow her down. But Mallory, I hope the rat bastard encounters the worst, most painful kind of trouble the Cloven's sick hard fans can conquer!
Wow, he's really developed a soft side for Reine.
Sorry, I do that. I'm just that angry.
I mean, justified. Mallory did pretty much just leave him to die.
Also, as a reminder, remember, right now we're under Paris, meaning that, once again, it's yet another video game with a fascination for Paris Catacombs. Look, I get it, labyrinthine section, even, as opposed to below, could not resist that, but, geez, I really don't think it's that, as holds this kind of significance aside from historical value.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. It's a pretty cool network of tunnels here and there, and there is the infamous Maze of Bones, essentially, so, again, I get it.
Anyway, to wrap up quickly about the country before I let Pedro say, we did notice that in the war map, Australia was actually fine. That's because for the longest, it's actually the one nation that resisted the most. In fact, a lot of refugees from all over the world flew there, and it causes actually overpopulation and food supply shortage to the point that it caused an internal civil war in 1952. And by the time of Resistance 3, unfortunately, the nation had been invaded, and much like the rest of the world, it had sacks of resistance. So that's still pretty neat, I guess. Go on, Pedro.
No, like I said, so yeah, I only use Twitter for those very specific accounts that I follow that I want to see what they're doing, right? That's it. But I don't use Twitter for literally anything else. Most of the time, I'm not even using. I only use it specifically when I want to see what those specific. So again, this is me doing the typical Portuguese method. I'll let everybody on Twitter eat themselves alive, and I'll just stay here and only use Twitter when it suits my needs, and I'll stay uninvolved in anything because I don't care. That's basically, again, this is the Portuguese experience. So to this game's credit, they did get that right.
I don't exactly know where it was actually mentioned, but again, franchises
or the book or whatever it is. Yeah.
All right. I also love that some of the in-game sound, like when Grayson has to do the sound, feels noticeably more compressed when it comes to the sound quality.
Yeah.
Unless... Oh, god damn it. I really don't understand the spread of the shotgun.
It's weird. Typically a shotgun is simple. You get up close and personal, and then you get some spread, especially if you have And
even if I try to concentrate the aim like you showcased a second ago, it's not really equally that powerful, or precise, and it slows my movement down, which makes me fall easily, as a prey of the leapers.
Feels like
I'm not entirely sure what the game expects me to do.
Feels like the only reason to use it is if it's the only thing you got.
No, again, technically any weapon works because, again, the thing is that the leapers are relatively soft, fragile, so any kind of bullet can actually deal with them. But unfortunately, they're very agile for the standards of this game. So it's not exactly, super easy just to actually hunt them down. Again, I guess with the sniper, the far eye slow-mo maneuver, I could actually get to them more easily, but I don't know, feels like a waste. Oh boy, it's this now. Grayson is about to encounter a Cloven face-to-face.
No. Turn on, you piece of shit.
Oh, crud.
What the hell do these guys eat? Crazy albinos.
Yeah, I'm glad Shiri's not here.
Parker, this is Grayson.
I mean, I think she would realize that obviously that's something said in bad taste.
True, but again, it's just... I get what the game is trying to do, but I really would prefer if it wasn't here.
I mean, I'm definitely a guy who will jump onto offensive stuff, but again, it's something that takes place in the 50s, and this is one of those times where I at least feel like it's genuinely just keeping in with the times as opposed to just, people wanting to be offensive and get patted on the back for it. I'm willing to give Ben Studio the benefit of a doubt in that regard.
I still want to, like I did eventually, I still want to check out the Siphon Filter franchise, but I do wonder if that also is as shades of this or not, because I can tell Days Gone doesn't really have that.
It was
done much more recently than this.
The only other game from Ben Studio I'm familiar with is Bubsy 3D, and I guess one thing Bubsy does have in common with Grayson is that they definitely have a mouth for quips.
True, but Bubsy doesn't go around and basically uses, pejorative words for the bullies all the time. That's what I mean.
I wonder, does he ever make fun of the bullies directly?
I think he might reference the Predator ones if I say you're one ugly motherfucker, just, without the swearing part, maybe. But I don't think so anyway. Anyway, just to mention, this section is dickish towards you. It's one giant corridor where you constantly get harassed by, the elite hybrid. So okay, you get behind cover and then shoot it. No, because the game constantly also spawns a leaper that constantly bomb rushes towards you. So you have to basically prioritize the target and constantly stay on the move.
Like, what happened? Did Insomniac come into the studio and realize that the game didn't have about a BS difficulty? So they had to add this in? Because
this is just mean.
Okay, I won't act like there haven't been difficulty spikes in this game before, but this one, oh god. Just looking at this.
And honestly, it makes me wonder if at one point, yeah, I wish I knew, Grayson. It makes me wonder at one point if the enemies constantly spawn as long as you stay in one place and they stop when you move forward, or if there is a genuine definitive quantity and they eventually stop coming.
That would
at least for this occasion, because the way I experienced the game, it genuinely makes me wonder this, because in the normal circumstances, in other areas that are like open, that I can believe it has a definite quantity of enemy that eventually stop, if you manage to kill them all and then you move forward. But there have been a few situations where, with these particular kind of corridors, where you don't really see the end and it's like a curvature thing, where it feels like the game incentivizes you to move forward, and it makes me feel like if I don't move forward enough, the game is constantly going to spawn enemies to flush me out.
While I can't confirm or deny whether that's the case, I will say that would be sort of evil genius, but still dickish if they made it that the only way to truly end the enemy is by moving forward, and if you try and be overly cautious and stay put, enemies will just keep coming. Like, in some games that could work, but yeah, look, the Resistance series already probably had a name for having some BS difficulties, so part of me legit does wonder if this was like a contractual thing, because the thing is, this difficulty pops out of nowhere, at least with, the first Resistance game. Yeah,
now we're about to be reunited briefly with Mallory.
Final comeuppance time.
Yeah, it's not over yet. Yeah, another time, Jova.
Really?
Piece of shit.
What a pawns.
Yeah, okay, since I died multiple times in this section, I can tell you that it's not always automatically that's the word you're gonna get to hear from Grayson. And let's just say that he reiterates more insults based on Mallory's stature, let's just say that. Anyway, speaking of, since I died, multiple times, it's worth mentioning that the difficulty doesn't actually, stop with this section. And I can tell you, Jova, that it's a case of these particular few levels. It's literally a case of that one level, because I can tell you that the levels that come after, these ones in the Catacombs, they're much easier compared to them.
Wow.
Dealing with the Chimera and even the drones.
So
it's just that I guess someone just decided to want it to be a dick. And again, that's not too uncommon for the genre, believe it or not.
Again, my big wonder is, was this something that they put in just to give a difficulty spike? Because again, okay, with other Resistance games, their BS difficulty has at least been, I'd say, relatively consistent over the course of the journeys. This feels like it comes relatively out of nowhere, essentially, in regards to just, I guess, being a difficulty stalagmite, as Pedro would put it. It's weird, too.
Not much more to say immediately to this section, because again, it mostly swarms you with a couple of drones, sleep skulls, and and Leapers. We're gonna get a Titan also towards the end, but I have to be honest, it's probably one of the easier enemies to deal with in this barrage. Again, it's not really the fact of, you know, the Chimeras excels in the quantity rather than in the quality, you know. And as a result, when you get swarmed, that's when you need to start panicking, not to have, instead by having just one giant Chimera that is powerful. That I can possibly really handle. You know, it's just that if I get a factor of enemies, Grayson, like I said, is not as agile as, you know, someone like, say, the Doomslayer of Doom 2016, you know, for example, or even classic ones like, you know, in Quake. You know, he is very slow and methodical because shooters were like this around this time. So as a result, you know, getting swarmed in a cover-based shooter like this is basically just suicide.
I'm guessing the slow motion has to do with the limitations of a system, probably.
No, because remember, Joe, even the main series of on PS3 also was kind of like this in terms of, you know, movement.
Maybe it was a difference in frame rate, but I recall the players in those games being able to move at least a bit quicker. Again, granted,
you had a sprint button in those. Yes, you don't have it here. Sure, I guess that's kind of a difference, but not to the point of making that much of a difference in terms, because when it comes to, you know, evading a swarm of enemies coming towards you, it's also lateral movement that's important, not just how much you sprint forward and back.
Shame they couldn't add a dodge button.
Yeah, that probably would have helped, but if I have to be honest, I kind of get it, you know, on the PSP, I don't even know what kind of, you know, combination it would have put. Okay, it's been ages since I played the original versions of Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta, but since you don't have the secondary, you know, analog stick, you have to use a different combination in order to dodge. I think it's L1 and circle, I think, in those, but it's very awkward, basically.
Okay, what about, like, in Resistance 3, where it's, like, R1 to dodge?
No, I don't have a dodge button there.
No, sorry. I meant to say Resident Evil 3. Why did I say Resistance 3?
I don't know what to tell you.
Whatever. I mean, but again, try like Resident Evil 3, which had a dodge button, essentially. Like, you know, do something akin to that.
I don't know what to tell you.
Oh well.
Especially because, again, for the PSP, this is it's already occupying most of its buttons. And look, like I said, you know, they managed to accommodate by having the control scheme also for the DualShock. That's actually appreciated. But I kind of get it that, you know, that for the PSP, you know, it was already limiting. Again, I don't even know how were you supposed to move the camera on the PSP, because remember, but DualShock, you can actually move it with the right analog stick, but I do that one is not on the PSP. I don't know how you're supposed to do that. There you go.
Sit still, you little chimps.
And yeah, once again, I'm surviving through the skin of my teeth.
And honestly, that I think I know what I just want to go for, but honestly, it's nothing. It's got nothing on. Hold still, you little prick.
From which specific media, Dweebs?
Iron Man.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, I'm just jump cutting because it was another situation where I died, so I was like,
also,
no, let's not do that all again.
Also, I'm not sure this music's very fitting at the minute.
Go on.
I mean, there's also gunfire going on, but the music behind it is like it's trying to build up to a jump scare in a horror movie.
Yeah, it's trying to evoke tension because you're in a sort of a claustrophobic environment with the catacombs. You know, you have all potentially the mysterious and of the unknown and some horrors to deal with. Again, that's what they're kind of trying to convey. It's just that this is not, you know, Shell Bridge Cradle from Thief 3, nor the abandoned hotel from Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. Sorry. Don't worry about this area. It's one of, again, I will mention it another for the extras part, but this is one of those areas where, under specific condition, an intel will spawn, and so I basically got it here off screen. Because basically I gather all the intel off screen for convenience sakes. Needless to say, they're scattered all throughout the game, and some of them are relatively well hidden. I wasn't, particularly. I had to work out a bit before finding them, but eventually did it without needing a guide. So at least they're not that cryptic. I can tell you that.
Okay then. So.
Moving on.
Opposable funds.
Yes, Drova.
Yeah, no, story-wise, this is weird. This whole section has been very weird story-wise.
I really hate Mallory.
No kidding.
I don't blame you, but that's a weird way to end the level.
Where'd that come from?
Remember, he was looking at the bridge when Mario destroyed and forced us to do all these detours.
Ah, that, okay.
It'd be like if Mario finished a level, but right at the end of it, before it goes into it's like, I hate the Bowser.
Alright, in the next part, we completed the Catacombs sections, and we'll see if we do catch up with Mallory or not. See ya.
Fun times ahead.